Good evening and welcome to the Paranormal Lens podcast presented by Jot Nix Paranormal. I am Jamie Widener, your host for the evening, along with Chad Thomas over there.
Hello.
How you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good, Jamie. How are you doing?
Well, I've had a week.
Yeah, yes, you have.
um, yeah, I don't know how much I want to share on that one yet, but um, I will, I guess. I have to say something now. But unfortunately, last week on Thursday afternoon, I found out my father passed away.
Yeah.
And, we talk about, well, we talk about the dead a lot, right?
hmm
And, but it's always somebody else and somewhere else and another time in history, and it's never personal. Um, but when it strikes close to home or happens close to home, it changes things. So um, it's been a whirlwind of a couple days of a lot of good things, a lot of memories, a lot of
hmm
fun carrying on with siblings and direct family and all. But you just can't replace people. So.
No.
And I know we both lost family and close ones to us as well. So I know and
Mhm.
out there you as well have by now, I'm sure. But you're never ready, even though we all have an expiration date. So, man, um, I'll say this: my dad was an encouraging individual for me in my life. He never said you shouldn't do something, and there are a lot of times I wish he would have. Um, right?
Yep.
We should have. But he always encouraged things, and um, that helps me to be the person I am today and be here in this moment because I
hmm
never thought this would happen. So.
Yep.
Um, So to anyone out there, I encourage you to go follow your dreams, follow your path, and you never know where it's going to take you. So anyway, get away from that and on
Yeah.
to other. So let's talk about other fun
Yeah.
stuff.
Because Jamie, it's really hard for an empath to sit through this as well.
Yeah, right. I get it. I get it.
So,
Um, well,
but
and I appreciate
everybody,
this.
yeah,
You've been
everybody out
super
there's
cool,
thinking about it.
and I've been lacking on a few things, getting things ready and done. So let's hope I got this episode right.
I'm
Um,
sure you do. So,
I hope I do. I was well. I don't know. I'll come clean and tell you that the slide deck that you're about to see got done about 11:45 last night. Started at 11:45 last night when I went, oh shit, I got to do that. It reminds me of my favorite quote from Thomas Jefferson on July 3rd. Oh crap, that's due tomorrow, right? So,
yeah.
um,
We'll get there. Hey, I do have an update for us, Jamie. Season 3, episode 4. Remember what that was?
it was the one right after 2 and before 5, so or 3 and 5. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Saratoga County Homestead,
Oh yeah.
right? They posted their fall dates for investigation and tours on hauntednightsevents.com. So I know my fall is a little busy, but anybody out there who is interested in that, there's a road trip for you. So,
Yeah, a real one and
mhm.
literal one.
so,
So we
so
could do
check
that.
it out. Yeah. So, so I just thought I'd share that. It popped up on my feed today, and I'm like, everybody will appreciate that. So,
Yeah. Well, I've used that like comment you made at the beginning of the episode of like things hiding in plain sight a lot since that time in a
mhm,
lot of ways, and it really struck me. And that is kind of the mystery of all of this, right?
mhm.
We just don't know that things are there, and that kind of ties into the episode perhaps tonight. So
Okay. Well, I'm
here we
curious.
go. Right, see, segue.
Mhm.
Uh, Well, first of all, we gotta go. Where are we in the world? And tonight we're talking about the Paris Catacombs. So it would make sense that we are going to Paris, France. And um,
Not
we
Paris, Florida, or Texas, or
know there are a few Parises. I have a Paris in my house. That is my dog's name. So no, not her. Um,
so if we hear barking in the episode, it's because she keeps hearing her name and
it's because one of my Amish neighbors went by in their horse and buggy, which they've done several times this evening. So it's only a matter of time, I guess. Uh,
uh
they don't have bedtimes, believe it or not. They're out a lot. But anyway, Paris, France. And as we go back to our episode on the Ancient Ram Inn over in the UK, we said we were going to take the Channel over tonight. So
mhm.
we've done so. We came out the other side. Here we are in continental Europe. And I guess we got to go back, right? So let's talk about the history first, and then we'll get into the paranormal. So on the surface, Paris dazzles with boulevards, art, and monuments. Yet beneath the city lies one of the world's most macabre landmarks, the catacombs. This subterranean ossuary, word for a container or room in which bones of the dead are placed, right?
Okay.
Remains of over 6 million Parisians, or the current population of Dallas, Miami, or Atlanta here in the US, or Tokyo, Mexico City, or Cairo around the globe. It is both an engineering marvel and a cultural curiosity. To understand how this came to be, let's examine the catacombs' history, from quarry origins to ossuary transformation, and the paranormal accounts, legends, and modern investigations that fuel their haunted reputation. So, back in time.
Hmm.
Paris in general stands on Lutetian limestone, deposited some 45 million years ago during the Eocene epoch. The stone is pale, fine grained, and easy to cut. It's strong enough for cathedrals. Romans were the first to exploit it, quarrying stone for baths, amphitheaters, and fortifications. By the 12th century, as medieval Paris expanded, quarrying accelerated to supply Notre Dame Cathedral and other great works. Networks of underground galleries known as carrières spread beneath both banks of the Seine, and by the 14th century, these excavations extended for kilometers, creating a vast but unstable underworld. The quarries were largely forgotten by those above, except when collapses reminded citizens of their presence. By the 1700s, portions of the city suffered subsidence, swallowing streets and buildings. Newly formed the newly formed Inspection Generale des Carriers, or General Quarry Inspectorate, created in 1777, began mapping and reinforcing the underground labyrinth. Ironically, this bureaucratic effort to prevent disaster made the quarries legible and accessible just as the cemetery crisis reached its peak. So, it means by the 17th and 18th centuries, Paris's cemeteries were dangerously overcrowded. The Cemetery of the Innocents near Les Halles has been in use for nearly 10 centuries, 1,000 years.
Wow.
Layer upon layer of human remains filled communal pits. Accounts tell of corpses spilling into adjacent cellars during floods. The stench of decomposition seeped into homes and businesses. But Innocents was not quite unique. Many Paris graveyards were filled beyond capacity. Doctors worried about disease. In 1755, a cellar collapse adjoining Innocents revealed a wall bulging with thousands of corpses, shocking neighbors. Reports circulated of tainted water and spoiled food linked to cemetery runoff. Enlightened thinkers and reformers called for action, framing burial reform as a public health issue. By the 1780s, the situation was untenable, forcing city officials and clergy to seek radical solutions. In 1786, the Conseil d'État authorized the transfer of remains from overcrowded cemeteries into the abandoned quarries. The first transfer began from Innocents, conducted with nighttime processions. Wagons covered in black veils carried bones through the streets while priests recited the office of the dead. Over the next decades, millions of skeletons from over 30 cemeteries were systematically relocated. Initially, bones were dumped in heaps within the tunnels, but in 1810, Louis Etienne, and I'm going to say his name poorly here, Héricart de Thury, inspector of quarries, reorganized the ossuary into a more dignified memorial. He arranged skulls and femurs into symmetrical, my goodness, what a word, walls, and added monumental inscriptions. Plaques identified the source cemeteries, while philosophical maxims offered moral reflections. Thus, what began as a sanitation measure evolved into a space of commemoration and reflection. Héricart de Thury's vision transformed the catacombs. He incorporated architectural features, arches, altars, and columns of bones, giving the ossuary an aesthetic character. It included displays of unusual fossils and pathological specimens, creating a dietric museum of sorts. Public fascination grew. Early tours were limited to elites and scholars, including Napoleon III and later foreign dignitaries, but word of the Empire of Death spread. Visitors were struck. by the juxtaposition of engineering order and human fragility. The catacombs became a civic monument, reminding Parisians of their shared morality. The inscription at the entrance, Ariete, c'est Empire de la Mort, stop. This is the Empire of Death, captured both warning and invitation. The catacombs bore silent witnesses to the upheavals of the late 18th century and early 19th centuries. During the French Revolution, rumors circulated that victims of the massacres were interred here, though evidence is scarce. Still, the ossuary became a powerful metaphor for mass death and collective fate. Under Napoleon's rule, interest in memorializing the dead persisted, aligning with the broader romantic fascination with ruins, tombs, and the sublime. By the 1830s, the catacombs were increasingly accessible to select visitors. Writers like Victor Hugo and Honoré de Balzac referenced the city's underworld in their works, blending geology, history, and Gothic imagination. The bones of millions spoke not just of sanitary reform, but of national identity, revolution, and remembrance. The ossuary continued to evolve through the 19th century. Thematic galleries were developed, and additional cemeteries emptied their remains into the labyrinth. The catacombs entered popular culture, inspiring paintings, poems, and urban legends. The tales circulated of secret vaults containing plague victims or revolutionary martyrs. Others whispered of clandestine meetings held by Freemasons or occultists among the dead. Public tours were intermittently suspended due to safety concerns, but curiosity never waned. By mid-century, the catacombs epitomized the romantic ideal of confronting morality with evocative ruins. Foreign travelers placed it high on their itineraries, considering it an essential stop alongside Notre Dame and the Louvre. During the German occupation of Paris in World War II, both resistance fighters and German forces made use of the catacombs. The resistance leveraged their hidden passages to transport people and hold secret meetings. German soldiers established a bunker in one section, reinforcing the catacombs' role as a stage for clandestine history. After the war, municipal authorities intensified efforts to regulate the underground. The ossuary opened regularly for the public, drawing both tourists and urban adventurers. Meanwhile, cataphiles, officially explorers of the forbidden tunnels, mapped hidden sections, painted murals, and held gatherings. Their stories often embellished with eerie encounters fed modern folklore about the catacombs. So what do you think so far, Ted?
Well, it's interesting. Bert says, definitely think you feel like you're being watched.
Yeah, true story.
So, yeah, I mean, it seems like an intriguing place. I'm pretty sure with 6 million um, people's remains there, there's got to be something going on, huh?
I would think. I would think. Well, we're going to talk about that, right?
Okay, okay.
So let's pivot to the paranormal. So several factors make the catacombs fertile ground for ghost stories. One, the environment. It's dark, it's cool, and there's echoes, all of which distorts perception. Two, the repetitive skull patterns encourage pareidolia, the human tendency to see faces in random detail. And three, the knowledge that millions of people lie beneath one's feet amplifies unease.
Hmm.
Psychologists note that underground spaces can trigger disorientation, panic, and heightened suggestibility, all conditions that can manifest as paranormal experiences. Add to the centuries of accumulated folklore, and the catacombs become a powerful stage for ghostly imagination. I
Okay.
can understand that.
Hmm.
So, visitors and explorers report reoccurring types of experiences. There are disembodied voices and whispers in the bone-lined corridors, often described as calling one's name. It seems personal.
Hmm.
Apparitions or shadowy figures, sometimes in period clothing, seen just out of reach. There are phantom footsteps following behind but never overtaking, as if someone invisible is escorting the visitor.
Okay.
There are cold spots and sudden drafts, unexplained given the stable underground climate. We have a little experience with being in catacombs at the brewery, right? So
Right.
we know it's always around 66 degrees and there is no airflow.
Correct.
And surprisingly, there are electronic anomalies, including EVPs that capture faint voices and camera malfunctions in specific chambers,
Okay.
things that really shouldn't happen.
Hmm.
Okay? So, with any haunted location, there are some notable legends. There's just a few here that I'll cover.
Okay.
The first is the Lost Doorkeeper, a hospital gatekeeper who allegedly vanished into the catacombs in the 1790s. His body was found a decade later, identified by his key ring. His ghost is said to mislead visitors. There is the Weeping Wall, a perpetually damp wall where visitors report hearing sobs or feeling overwhelming grief. And there is the Singing Dead. Some claim to hear faint choirs or hymns as though the dead are conducting their own liturgy.
Okay.
A little off the direction, but still suggestive, is there are rumors of occult ceremonies, secret societies, and black masses that have long clung to the catacombs. While hard evidence is rare, explorers have discovered makeshift altars and decorated chambers, suggesting at least occasional ritual activity. In 2004, police uncovered a fully equipped underground cinema with a bar and seating, complete with a banner warning intruders to leave. These findings show that the catacombs continue to inspire transgression, secrecy, and some creative expression. Occult rumors persist that rituals attempt to contact the spirits of the 6 million dead, with seances and invocations. Though most of these claims are anecdotal, their circulation deepens the catacombs' mystique. Even if modern rituals are more performance than faith, they create atmospheres that participants often describe as charged or uncanny.
Hmm.
So, paranormal investigators have staged controlled studies in the catacombs. Some report unexplained EVP recordings, sudden temperature fluctuations, and strong feelings of being watched. Skeptics counter that echoes, drafts, and carbon dioxide pockets offer natural explanations. Still, even skeptics concede that the environment's
You've got all the words tonight, Jamie.
I can't read apparently. Again, psychological weight cannot be ignored. Humans experience the catacombs as haunted, whether or not spirits dwell there. Right. So,
Hmm.
so if you go, and you can,
Right.
there are official tours available. They are Tuesday through Sunday from 9:45 in the morning until 8:30 p.m. The last entry is at 7:30. The easiest entrance is at 1 Avenue du Colonel Henry Roltanguay, and it is conveniently located off a metro station between line 4 and 6, so you can ride right there. The duration, it's about a kilometer worth of walking. It's a circuit, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
It is accessible, although you do need to descend 131 steps, but only climb out of 112. So a little bit better than our catacombs.
Uh-huh.
Worse, I'm sorry, a little worse. Ours are better. It's recommended against for visitors with mobility issues, respiratory or cardiac conditions, claustrophobia, or psychological sensitivity. So, hey, a lot of warnings, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And it's a constant 14 degrees Celsius or 57 degrees Fahrenheit with moderate humidity. So, bring a light jacket.
Wow. Yeah.
The cool thing here, Chad, is you can take pictures, and
Ooh.
flashes are only partially permitted.
Okay.
But as you're seeing through most of the slides, there is lighting, so
Right.
it's not a a dark environment necessarily, although it is dim at times. And I did not do the math on this to convert it, but adult tickets are only €31, and students, which are 18 to 26 year olds, are only €25, and believe it or not, children 5 to 17 year old are €12, and under five are free. But why would you do that? Because if you do, you're going to be paying for their therapy for a very long time.
Right. Jamie, the $31 is $36.26 in US dollars.
Goodness,
So,
that is so affordable.
hmm.
Thank you for the conversion. I
Yep.
totally forgot to do it.
So, while you're paused here, I want to, Stacy says hello. She's joined
Hey,
us
Stacey.
tonight. So glad you can join us. Um, Todd says, are there any famous remains there?
Well, I mean, no, not specifically because we're looking at a window of time when we didn't have a whole lot of records. So no one specifically asked to be buried or interred there. This was in a time when there was just general overcrowding of cemeteries. So once we got past that, they got past that issue situation, then normal interments were, are still happening, in regular cemeteries above ground. So once we get into the 1800s, this really, just stopped being. So no one that is definitely known to be famous is there that I found.
Right. I'm sure there are famous people there because they pretty much emptied. My
Yeah, it
understanding
has
is they
to
pretty
be.
much emptied other cemeteries to put them here. So,
Oh,
uh,
but also you got to consider it in the era. If you had relative affluence or wealth, you would not be buried in the common cemetery
this
as
is true.
well. So, or likely you were buried on your own property. You had property, therefore you could be, or you were in a private cemetery somewhere else.
Yeah. Todd also said it makes us want to do a side trip to Paris to visit if possible. So yes, you can do that. And I think
Absolutely.
you
Well, let me say something to that. To the last thought on the tour. If going, book your tickets at least a week in advance to ensure availability. This is highly popular destination, and same day ticket availability. I'm sorry, is very very rare. The best times to visit are early in the morning or near closing, so there are less people and noises. And should you have the ability to do it, private tours can be arranged on Mondays, but they are so expensive they didn't provide pricing on their website.
so that's one of those. If you have to ask, you probably
You probably shouldn't. You
right,
probably can't afford it right now. Maybe you can. I'm kidding, but I can't. I could say that.
right. So
So,
um,
but yeah, you can definitely do a private event there or tour. You just have to pay the premium, which
so
might be cool.
I'm sure if you wanted to do a private event there and you had the money, you could do a private event there.
Yeah.
So I think you sort of covered this earlier, but Bert asks, so where do they put the bodies until they're done decaying, or do they strip the bones? That would be gross.
Yeah. So, we're, no, I'm going to say something kind of stupid here, but people have been dying for thousands of years, right? So, with most of the transition in the coming out of a cemetery into the ossuary here in the catacombs, they were mostly decayed already. I did not read anywhere or find any evidence that bodies were tampered with or um, less than transition to from bones to or into bones. So I don't believe they would have done that, but I can't say they didn't either because I can't prove it either way.
Right.
It's a really good question though, because honestly, that's kind of like it's bad enough that we're dealing with remains, but what
Right.
if you have a partially decomposed person? I mean, that's pretty
Right.
gross.
But and just to be clear,
Dangerous.
they're not still using it today as a burial place because it's
Correct. Oh, it's long, long close. I mean, we're talking 200 years.
right.
Early 1800s to now. So
Mhm.
it there was the bodies that are there now are completely decomposed. Yes, but as far as those who are being transitioned, is what I understood the question to be. Yeah, there could have certainly been some juicy people.
Mhm. Well,
I see this go now. Uh,
but
right.
again, we're talking about a time where burial was a little bit different.
Sure.
If they weren't buried completely correctly, animals would have gotten into it, rodents, things like that, to
Entirely possible.
to clean the bones. I mean,
You're well before embalming as well, so that's natural decomposition would have occurred, and it would have taken some time. But again, with most of these cemeteries being older, um, yeah, thanks for gooiness. That is it. Um, I always think of the end. Is it the Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end when
mhm,
they open the Ark and Indiana and the um, his partner there or don't look, and everyone else is so fascinated, and then they just all kind of just dissolve down.
mhm,
I always think of that when I think of this. So
right.
gross.
Well, and
Great special effects too, though. But
yeah, I've not that I was looking this up, but somewhere I came across a thing. Um, we bury our dead below 6 feet,
yes,
and that's intentional because there's an anaerobic and an aerobic layer of the soil, and the further down you go, the less things are there to break the body down. So if you bury it above 6 feet, so depending on how deep they were burying people, a lot of times these bones could have been cleaned already.
right. Well,
So
there were burial pits,
mhm,
so not necessarily. And as we are familiar now with single
single
interment,
graves. Yeah.
individual graves, this would have been an open area, and it would have just been shoveled over, as a layer, then waiting for the next body to come, and then
Mhm.
another layer. So
That,
there's like
that
stacking.
probably would have encouraged that breakdown. So
And I couldn't tell you that they were buried in caskets or coffins either.
I doubt it. I
Not
mean,
necessarily. It wouldn't have been affordable to some,
mhm,
and or practical to some, and certainly not common anyway.
yeah, yeah.
It's a
You,
great question. Who counted the remains to come up with the 6 million?
I wanted you to say the name again, Jamie, because the guy.
I'm not gonna do it. Um, but, just in a simple sense, you can, I forget how many bones are in a human body, but it's 100 and something, like 180 or something like that. So there's a lot of bones, right? But there's only one skull. And that's the key to this. If
Yep.
you go through and you count the skulls, that's where the number came from. I knew someone was going to ask us eventually, so
Uh-huh.
I didn't have that information. But so in the entirety of the catacombs, there are 6 million human skulls, and or ish, and anyway. Um, so that's where the math came from.
I'm sure they used AI to count that back in the 1800s or something.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Wow, well, definitely interesting. And just, again, here we are. Here's a culture that was solving a problem by using a resource that they had available.
Yes, exactly.
And it's
Well, tell you what, let me do the conclusion, and then we'll cite some
sorry.
sources that we're discussing. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but let me take care of that part, and we'll
Yep.
do the due diligence here. So to conclude, the Paris Catacombs stands as one of the world's most fascinating intersections of history and mystery. On the one hand, they represent a pragmatic solution to 18th century public health crisis, a monumental feat of engineering that recycled abandoned quarries to an ossuary. They carry the stories of millions of Parisians, a reminder of morality and of the city's struggles with urban growth. The careful arrangement of bones reflects both reverence and efficiency, turning the underground into a solemn archive of the past. On the other hand, they have become a living stage for paranormal narratives. From the legends of Philibert Aspierat to modern EVP recordings, the catacombs invite speculation about what lingers after death. Ghost Hunters International, Cataphiles, and the French Paranormal Society each uncovered chilling phenomena that suggest the ossuary is not merely a historical monument, but an active space of the uncanny. I love that the word uncanny for
Mhm.
unusual. It's a good way. For believers, the whispers, shadows, and apparitions are evidence of restless spirits. For skeptics, they reveal how environment and psychology weave powerful illusions. Taken together, the catacombs embody both fact and the folklore. They are simultaneously a mass grave, an urban solution, a cultural icon, and a reputed haunt. To walk their passages is to encounter history inscribed in bone and to step into a realm where the boundary between the past and present blurs. Whether one sees a museum of morality or a gateway to the paranormal, the catacombs remain one of Paris's most enduring and haunting legacies. The sources: hauntedfrance.com, Haunted Paris, the Paris Catacombs, our friends at atlasobscura.com, the Catacombs of Paris, history.com, Paris Catacombs, sci-fi.com, Ghost Hunters International, Catacombs of Paris episode recap, the French Paranormal Society.org, investigation, Paris Catacombs 2014, and catacombs.paris.fr. All right, well, let's discuss it.
Sorry, I took us down that path
That's
too
okay.
early.
It happens. And we get excited, right?
Yeah.
And I've known about this for a long time. Like, 'cause I think, well, I'll go back into like 10 years ago or so. Whenever Ghost Hunters International was on TV, I saw it there.
Right.
And, I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. I'll check it out if I ever get to France. Like, well, here we are all this time later. I'm not there yet.
Right.
If anybody's out there who's catching this episode, if you've been there, let us know. Let us know your experience. I'm really intrigued by this. Um, I we have we have catacombs that we work with at Booby's Brewery. We call them catacombs. All right.
Right.
It's sort of like it, but it's not at all like this.
Well, what is the definition of a catacomb? Did you
Well,
find
I'll
that?
leave that to you since you're
So I'm
probably
the
pretty comfortable.
research guy here.
Yeah, you're the research. You're the find it in the second guy. What I'll say though is that what we have access to may not be all there is, and that is exactly what happens here. So what I shared with you is there's a kilometer or so of catacombs for the tour,
Mhm,
right? And that's 1.2 mile, 1.25 miles, a mile and a quarter. What there really is 200 miles of tunnels associated to the Paris Catacombs. A fraction is
mhm.
available to the public, a very minor part of it, right? So
Wow.
what that means is, and to what it means to me is, there's a whole lot more out there, and
Mhm,
it's just some of it's just like we go back to the Portland tunnels episode. Most of it there is inaccessible because it's unstable, and so much of the same is so in Paris as well.
right,
We'll go back to Booby's Brewery. We're in the lower part of the catacombs there. As well as there's the steel plate on the floor, and there's another level below. We can't go anywhere with because it's collapsed on both sides.
right,
So you have maybe a 7 or 8 foot radius there, left or right, to look. We can't go anywhere. So until someone has the means and resources to do the excavation work to see how much further it goes, we'll never know. But the suspicion is that it goes much further out into the community around Mountjoy, PA. And it would make sense that it would, since it's as much as we found so far. But we don't know until we know. And that's the fascinating thing with most of this. There's a lot of fixation just on a 1.25 mile track, here. And just imagine if there is more that is visible or accessible to us out there, and the rest of it, how much this could be. It's really cool. So, but when we go underground, things get weird. Our
mhm,
senses change. We hear more. We use more of our senses than we do when we're above ground and out, you know, in the public eye or the world. Um, the sounds get. We hear things clearer.
right,
I think that's something that's obvious for us when we're in the catacombs at the brewery.
mhm,
It's dark, so you don't see as much. So you have to use your sense of smell and hearing as well. So
right.
it's interesting.
So, here's the definition of a catacomb: an underground cemetery consisting of subterranean gallery with recesses for tombs, as constructed by the ancient Romans.
All right.
So, I'm hoping we don't find that at Boobies.
Well,
You
well,
never know.
you know, um, the rumor at the brewery for the catacombs, the lower catacombs below what we can go to, is that there was a hermit that lived there once, a Swedish hermit, right? And uh, a week or two, maybe three ago, kind of time's blurred by here a little bit. Uncharted Lancaster posted an article on this fellow, and the what's known, at least, the story, the myth that this is, and that to me would be this kind of thing. 'Cause those areas, those galleries would be living space. And I get it. That makes sense. Like it's in, like side paths, or if you will.
Yeah,
But even there, that could be a living space instead of a tomb. So if it's there, and otherwise it's just a tunnel, right, or a cave.
right.
But that's another. Catacombs is a fancier word. I like it.
Yep. So, yeah, definitely intriguing. I mean, I've heard of these before. I've known of them. I know that they're sometimes discovered accidentally when things collapse, when people
Mhm.
are building and they break through a wall, and all of a sudden they're face to face with skulls. I mean, some of that may be folklore.
Sure.
Some of it may not. I'm sure
You don't
when
want to find out though.
no, I'm sure when they were like digging some of the undergrounds and the subways in Paris, they discovered things that they didn't even know were there.
Of
So,
course.
but yeah, thank you for adding more information to it, Jamie. We're always learning a little bit every time we do a show. So,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I think, and Todd's comment here, let me put this in if you did not already, would stink to get lost down there. Absolutely.
hmm
Will become a part of the ossuary at that point. Um, and that's the other side of it, is there, urban explorers have been poking around for a very long time down there. And there were lots of images of folks walking through cut caverns that are knee, if not hip deep in water.
Yep.
So flooding and other things, and just like when we have flooding out from rainstorms, when you don't know what the depth of the water is, you shouldn't drive through it. Well, it's really no different when you're walking, right? You could come across a drop in and be gone that
Hmm.
quickly. So it's highly ill advised to go into these places and um, be there without permission or being off the path of accessible areas. Simply because if something does happen to you, no one knows. A la 127 hours, right?
Right.
And the best case is you come out a bit emaciated and you get in a little bit of trouble. The worst is you don't come out at all and you're a permanent addition. So
Right. And
you
we don't want that.
know what we prefer people to come home, right?
Mhm.
Tell a story, a cool story. So, but that's why we stay on the path, and it's better to get permission than forgiveness in these cases.
Correct. So cool.
That's why
Very
you book a private tour on the Monday for
right.
whatever the problem is.
I wonder if you get to cover more then on the private tour.
It's a good question.
So, well, I'm not headed to Paris anytime soon, but if I
I
do,
know.
I know
I get it.
this will be on
Well,
the
you
list.
are actually. You'll be in Epcot in a couple weeks, so
Not quite the same thing.
all right. Well,
I don't. I'm hoping there's no catacombs beneath there.
what if there were?
They would be soaked because the groundwater is so high in Florida.
It's a secret Disney ride.
uh, there you go.
Oh my! Well, the ride in France is fun, so
Hmm.
it's a lot of fun. But you know, maybe. Well, there is. I mean, there's rumors of underground. There's tunnels all through the whole part of the parks, for staff to go around in. So
Hmm. I
maybe
know
there is.
that I know that's the case in the Magic Kingdom. I'm not sure about Epcot. I can't remember if they have that or not there.
Yeah,
So,
you
but
imagine
anyway, we
one to do
digress.
that.
So,
I know somebody who works there, so I'll have to ask.
okay.
All right.
So, well, Jamie, thank you very much for covering this. It's a very interesting subject. Got some good questions. We learned what a catacomb is.
So we can't call it a catacomb now at the brewery.
Well, we still can. We know because you don't know.
Yeah, it's fair. It's
So,
just what we can see is off definition. So,
yeah. And I'm glad we don't have to go down 153 steps
oh
or
my
whatever it was.
131,
Three.
131. I have to count how many there are there, but I know it's not that many. Feels like that many, especially when you're coming up at the end of the night.
Yeah. So Todd said we will be in London in 2 weeks and may just take the train over to Paris. May just call to see how much the private tour is.
All right, there
Let
it
us
is.
know. So,
Please
and,
document it, all of it.
and Bert said kind of creepy, but there were some nice artistic patterns there. And yeah, I
Mhm.
wanted, I noticed that like you mentioned it earlier. Time was taken to
Yes,
to stack these skulls, to put the large bones into a nice package to store for eternity. You
that
know
is
what I
so
mean?
great way of saying that.
I yeah, I couldn't come up with a good way, but
Dude, just admit it. It's creepy.
it is. It's just, but it's cool at the same time.
I
So,
want you to think about something. Okay, when this was done was in the era before electricity.
hmm.
There were candles, lanterns, whatnot, bonfires, even. But this was all done. You know, and it was all done before there was equipment. This
Hmm.
was all done by hand, every bit of it, and sorted and stacked. All of the process, all the time. Someone really spent a lot, invested a lot
Yep.
in creating this, and that to me is as much as an impressive feat as the ingenuity, the ingeniousness of putting all of it there in the first place. The
Right.
necessity maybe first, but the
Right.
concept of how to do it. But then someone took the time to just, it's like your kids emptied every single Lego kit they have out onto the floor, right? And then
Right.
you get to figure out which one it belongs to and put it all back together. That's amazing.
Well, it's just yeah, the time without tools is just
Yeah,
amazing. So
absolutely. Ah, there's a comment from Heather. 2027, we are going to London for Kai's graduation present. Okay. And we are planning on going over to Paris for a day. We need to do the tour. Well, of course.
Yep. Just make sure you pick the right day because they are closed Sundays and no.
Sundays and Mondays for sure. I guess unless you need a private tour.
Yep.
Yeah. Get ahead of it. Obviously, I think you have plenty of time to plan. Cool.
Yeah.
Look, dude, everybody's going to Europe at us. What the hell? We
It's
need a
not in my.
paranormal.
What's that?
We need that paranormal plane.
We do apparently. So it's not in my cards for a while, but that's okay. I've got some other things brewing that I'm looking forward to in the next couple of weeks. So
That's fair. It's fair.
yeah.
Oh, very cool. Everybody's getting over.
So
And actually, Lynch's, I have something for you on your next Ireland trip that I'm saving for now, but it's going to be an episode coming up. So I think it's going to be something really interesting. You might be aware of, might not. So more to come.
cool. Jamie's always teasing the next episode, isn't he?
This one's going to be a little way down the road. We got some other things planned first, but
Cool.
maybe next year. But this season for sure.
All right.
There's always something more.
All right. Well, speaking of more, should we talk about what's coming up?
Segue.
See, we're getting better at this, Jamie. So
We actually act like we know what we're doing once in a while. It's amazing.
all right. So not that. No, see, you had to say that. All right. Coming up next week, Jamie was going to be away, so I was looking for some co-host, and guess what?
He's not away anymore.
He's not away, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have our co-host. Dos Cocos are going to join us next week. Camarella and Todd, and I'm not going to try to say the last name.
Hello, come on, say it. Say it.
No, because you stumbled over enough names. I'm not going to do that to myself.
This one I got.
Of 222 Paranormal Investigation Research, and they're co-host of Stay Haunted podcast. So they've known each other since high school. They've been together for a long time. I think it's 35 years, and they are bringing years of experience. So anyway, we're looking forward to talking to them next week. We haven't talked to them on the show, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, and I'm glad you're going to join us, Jamie, because I knew you were bummed that you were going to miss that. So,
absolutely, yeah. I've had the chance to investigate with these guys quite a few times, a handful of times now, and just solid investigators, fantastic people, just cool to hang out with. So,
and so Bert says you have plenty of time. It's going to be a few years till they're in Ireland again.
All right. Well, I don't say I have time, and I'll just keep waiting.
And and Todd's looking forward to helping out next week. So can't wait for that. Then episodes coming up. We've changed the schedule a little bit because we are self-produced and things have come up. And actually, the week after that, I want to thank Bert for this because he sent us something, and I'm like, "Ooh, that looks interesting." Mount Gretna, or sorry, it's not Mount Gretna Theater. It's Gretna Theater in Mount Gretna is doing a interactive theater production called Whispers in the Dark. Now, I'm not going to give too much of it away tonight, but it sounds really interesting. On the 23rd, we're going to have Megan Baum, who's the director of the production, on, and we're going to talk about some of the stories that they've got going on there, how it was written, because it was a writing co-op that was done in Lancaster. So it should be pretty interesting. I'm hoping that we get a chance to go see this, Jamie. It could be a fun production to see, and it's one of those that you start at one place and you work your way through the woods listening to
an immersive, interactive experience.
So that should be interesting.
And it is available if you check it out. You can find it on their Facebook page for Gretna Playhouse. I believe if you just put in Whispers in the Dark, you can find it as well as far as ticketing and some more information. But yeah, we're excited for this one.
All right. So the Lynchers are going to Scotland in the spring, so you need to find something for that.
Okay.
So challenge accepted. We'll work on that.
I think the research for that one is you have to watch the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer from back in the 80s.
Oh, we're jumping all over him. We got to stop for ice cream. I don't know if they're open year round or not. So the week after that, we're going to say scheduled right now because Jamie's trip may be rescheduled.
Yep, that's
Mysteries.
where it's looking. So I have a suggestion,
What's that?
if I may, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you before we got on the air, but perhaps we transition the October 7th Ghosts of China's Forbidden City to the 30th because that would still keep it in China's Ghost Month for
It
some reason.
would. I came when we were talking earlier. It came to my mind as well. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Either way, sometime in the 30th and the October 7th, we're going to either do Mysteries of Mount Shasta and Ghost of China's Forbidden City. The order is up in the air right now, but those episodes will be coming. October 14th, Ghost Behind the Walls, Castle of Good Hope. That's one Jamie's working on.
That's fine. Yep.
And I'm going to be doing Endless Hallways, Secrets of the Winchester House.
Ooh, yes.
So, have you seen pictures of the Winchester House, Jamie?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's
It's amazing. Like,
uh,
and like, well, I want to say it's crazy,
yeah,
but it might be tipping it a little bit.
yeah,
But it is a fantastic property that, man, like, wow, just wow. I'm
yeah,
excited for this one.
yeah. I'm a little daunted by it because there's a lot to cover.
There
so,
is. Yep.
so then let's talk about Paranormal Investigations. September 27th, 5 tickets left. We are running out of tickets. So if you're interested, don't wait. Get your
Yep.
tickets now.
You might be running out of time because we're running out of tickets. So
This is true. October 11th and 18th, they're running low as well. 11 left on the 11th. That's 11 on the 11th and 7 on the 18th. December 8th and 6th, or November 8th and December 6th, we still have plenty of tickets for.
yep.
So get them while you can. So those are the last investigations of the year.
Yeah,
Um,
it's amazing. We're there.
I can't believe we're talking about December already. I
I
mean,
know. Wow.
yeah.
I had a revelation the other day that I've got like 120 shopping days till Christmas, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yep. So,
That
um,
means I really have 118 days to worry about it. So, um,
and let's see, we've got our social media links. You know where to find us because you found us here. So we're not going to go through all those, but we do have the link tree, which I just posted in the chat. It's linktr.ee/paranormal lens. That'll get you to all our places. Shoot us an email at paranormallenspodcast@gmail.com. We're starting to get more emails that are real emails on that, Jamie. Isn't
I
that
know,
cool?
right?
So thank you to everybody who's emailing us. And we just want to thank everybody out there who's taking the time to watch our episodes, to interact. We have noticed that the Spotify counts are going up and up and up. We're not viral yet, but hey, it feels good to see that number go up.
Yeah, it does.
So, but yeah, did I cover everything, Jamie?
It feels good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, thanks again. It's to echo Chad. Thank you everybody for watching. We never know who's out there, because we sit here and we talk to each other. We're talking to you, and if we're not telling you something you want to hear or presenting something you want to know about, or you got a great thing and we're just not there, let us know. Shoot us that email. Drop a message in one of the chats, the links here, and just say so. As we self produce, therefore we can move stuff around, as you've seen by the schedule adjustments we just did.
Mm-hmm.
We're always looking for content. We're happy to do listener submissions. They're so much fun for us to do because, we select our topics. We know something about them, or at least an inkling of them. But when listener submissions come in, we know nothing and we get to learn something completely new. And it's always fun
Mm-hmm.
and engaging and, just a wonderful opportunity for everybody. So please
Yep.
do let us know.
Yep. Bert wants to know how many countries now. We are still at 38.
38.
So
Yeah.
if you know anybody in a country that's obscure, send them the link so we can bring that count up.
Spam everybody. Just do it. They'll thank you later.
So, um, any other final thoughts, Jamie?
No, sir. No, sir. I just got to start saving my pennies so I can hop a flight over to Europe and start in Paris and go everywhere.
So,
We can
and
go on a road trip from there over to the Hoya Forest. We can go back over to the UK and all the great spots. The Onmore Lighthouse is on the
mm-hmm,
in the path there. So let's just go.
mm-hmm.
We
So,
could be Paranormal Lens European edition.
ooh, that could be fun.
Could be fun.
So,
Could be a thing.
So, Todd, thank you for the comment. We appreciate the positive feedback, and I know Jamie appreciates
No, thank you.
the the, the thoughts. And so, well, to wrap it up, I'm just going to say, beneath the streets of Paris, history and mystery are forever entwined. So until the next time, stay alert, stay respectful, and stay curious. Thanks, everybody.